K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
All right, folks, well, it's just a couple minutes past the hour, 6 o'clock, right here in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City. You know what that means? It's time for America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. Now, tonight I do have Jared Day joining us. He'll be with us for the hour. Basically, we're going to talk about something that's been bothering both of us more and more lately, and it's the fact that both sides seem to do nothing but dwell on anger. So we have that and a lot more going on when we come back from the really quick break here in a second. Just want to give a shout-out to the affiliates, AMFM247.com, Red State Talk Radio, High Point Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, SHR Media, K98 Talk, and of course the Spark Radio Network. Now, with that being said, we will be back here in just a couple of minutes after we pay some bills. You guys have a great time. Hang out for just a second. We'll be right back for the rest of the show. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you'll be able to keep your health care plan, period.
This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, folks. Well, we're back, and of course, we're live, and this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. I am joined by my usual Monday evening cohort, Mr. Jared Day of Red Nation Rising Radio, and of course, a fellow host here at K98 Talk. And today, we're going to be talking about something that I think, well, it's bothered me for a while, but I think it's really getting to the point where it's bothering Jared now, too, and I'll let him explain more about that in a moment. But for those of you that can't read the episode, or the episode title, because maybe you're listening on TuneIn or one of the other ways where you can't actually see the title of the episode, having a little bit of fun with it tonight, but it's still a valid statement. Dear Trumpanistas, can't take credit for the word, that one's Jared's. Why art thou so angry? And it's not just them that's angry, it's like everybody is, but we're going to be talking about that today, because that's one of the things that has me really concerned, is it seems like anger is everybody's default setting now. And Jared has a pretty good couple of case in points that actually illustrate that. So at this point, I'm going to give him a chance to say good evening and all that fun stuff, and then we'll just let him kind of dive right in.
Hey, Rick. How you doing tonight?
I'm alive. This week just already started out worse than the last one, and that says something.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I really do. That Trumpanista, I scooped that up from Twitter somewhere. So that's been going around. I've also heard Trumpletites. I've also heard things I can't mention. But anyway, you were mentioning the anger. Yeah. Everyone is just reacting so knee-jerk and with such rage. I'll just give an example of something. On Twitter, I share articles a lot, like a lot of us do, and if I have an opinion on the article, I'll make that clear when I share the article. I'll write above it. If I just share the article, it's just the headline and the link and maybe a hashtag. So I shared an article that was critical of Trump's immigration plan that was unveiled over the weekend from the Federalist. And I think there was 150 replies, and every single one of them, some of them were, well, one of them, the first one was, "You're a fucking idiot." So I replied to that, "You seem nice." And then, thankfully, some people came in with me to discuss it, if you want to call it that, with the horde of Trumpanistas. So it went on, 150 replies. So for the hell of it, I shared the Breitbart article that came out after that, which was not praising, but had a favorable view of the immigration plan from Breitbart by Matthew Boyle. It was a good article. And immediately it started getting retweeted, and there was cheerleading, and there wasn't many replies. So, right off the bat, mostly on Twitter, I have followers that are conservatives, and got completely swarmed with hate. And I kept saying, thanks for the compliment, but I didn't write the article, and people just went after me as if I wrote the article, and they attacked me, as a person. It was ridiculous. I immediately got reminded of 2008, 2012. Some of the people, and I'm not saying all of them, they came across just like messianic, mindless Obama followers, just going off on emotion with no logic to anything that they're saying. And the sad thing is, I think Trump is a positive thing for this primary. I like what he says. It's just I have some criticism of the one thing that he's actually given is his immigration plan. Everything else is just talk. And, the other candidates haven't given much substance either to actually what they'll do. So I had a few criticisms about the immigration plan. And it was, I don't know, what have your observations been, Rick?
Well, I mean, my biggest observation with all of it is, here's my thing with Trump, and I have to go back to something that Dr. A pointed out. I think he is a positive influence in the primary process because he's bringing attention to something that has never really had this much attention before. Whether that's a positive or a negative thing, we'll have to find out later because it's a lot like parenting. When you have a child that's acting out, normally they're acting out in a lot of ways because they want attention and they're willing to take it however they can get it, which is kind of how I envision Trump and the stuff that he's pulling right now. Now, I haven't really had much of a chance to read his immigration policy. He did take a moment on a couple of different talk shows that I've listened to talk about it, and one of the scariest things about his immigration policy is he seems to think that one of the biggest things he's going to be able to do is stick Mexico with the bill for the wall. Now, as far as Trump himself, I don't know him personally. I know there's been a big back and forth over the last few days between Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity because Beck is like all beside himself because folks like Coulter and Hannity and all these other big name talk show folks are just falling all over themselves about Trump. And Hannity actually, for once, gave a pretty reasoned discussion back as to why he wasn't necessarily supporting Trump, because he himself still says he's undecided. But he does what he always does every election cycle, gives as many of the candidates that want airtime as much airtime as they want so that everybody can make a rational decision. And, some of the things that people are pointing out I think are interesting because you hear some of the weirdest things about Trump from the folks that, like even Beck himself, who now says he aligns more as a libertarian, was concerned because of some of the things that Donald Trump's wife has done in the past and how that may have a negative impact on the worldview of the country. And the first thing Hannity shot back is, I'm sorry, aren't you supposed to be a libertarian? I kind of thought that was funny. But the whole thing is, no matter whether you like Trump or you hate Trump, you have to at least give him the credit that he's bringing attention to something that nobody's paid attention to for a very long time, which is the election process. At least in the Republican side of things, we haven't done as good of a job with social media and everything else as the folks on the left do. So they get a lot of folks ginned up and excited. We finally have that here, but the problem is I think we're doing it in the wrong way because we have a lot of folks on both sides of the aisle that are reacting out of anger. And if anger is honestly all we have left, then we have bigger problems than I thought. Because if that's the one emotion that we can find that's in common with everybody anymore, we are in a real mess, a real big world of a mess, and I'm not sure how to fix it. And that's what has me concerned at this point. It just seems like everybody's go-to default setting anymore is rare to bitch in 5.2.
Yeah, I agree. And you mentioned the support that Trump has from conservatives, Levin, Rush. I mean, real conservatives do support him, and I can't help but question his if he's going to stay conservative like he talks because of his past. Now, I like how honest he is when he speaks. That's refreshing. A lot of what he says is refreshing. So, again, I'm glad he's there. I did read what Hannity's response to Beck, and I guess Beck is going to be on his show. That's interesting too, right there. Beck considers him progressive, and his immigration plan. It's not just about the wall. He actually laid out some stuff, but some of it I was surprised because he talks about federal government's too big, just like we want to hear. And, a lot of what he says goes along with that. But in his immigration plan, he wants to triple the size of a federal agency. He wants ICE to have 3 times as much funding and manpower. Now, that's growing government bureaucracy right there. There's some good things in it. He wants to raise the wages for the H-1B visas, which that's a really good thing. And his principles of his immigration plan are really good. A nation without borders is not a nation. There must be a wall across the southern border. A nation without laws is not a nation. Laws passed in accordance with our constitutional system of government must be enforced. Number 3, a nation that does not serve its own citizens is not a nation. Any immigration plan must improve jobs, wages, and security for all Americans. It reminds me of Michael Savage, Borders, Language, Culture, his brand of conservatism in regards to sovereignty and borders, immigration. But again, what do you think about his past, like his donations to, I was reading, he's donated to Harry Reid, Anthony Weiner. Now, I'm sure that there's other conservatives that have donated to Democrats before, but there's just, do you think that matters in the big picture? Do you think he's just, he's changed and he wants to save this country and he's just all in for America as far as liberty, and he's leaving that behind, all of that leftist thinking and associating with wanting Hillary Clinton at his wedding and that sort of stuff? What do you think?
See, I don't know if that was so much him being more of a leftist or him being a practical businessman, because think about it for a second. And I would be more concerned about the money that he had given to folks like Harry Reid and Hillary Clinton and everybody else if he wasn't completely upfront about that during the debate and said, hey, look, yes, I'll admit, I've given money to both sides, because why wouldn't I? Because then when I need a favor, I know who to call. He's basically just pointing out exactly how screwed up our system is. Because the simple fact of the matter is, if you give money to a politician and you give enough money to a politician, they can deny it all they want, but you basically have them in your pocket, and the people that do that know it, and that's what he was calling attention to, I think.
He's also pointing out that he's not going to be that guy if he gets elected. He's not going to be beholden to anyone because he's funding his own campaign, right?
I mean, that's one of the things that he said, and I have to admit that's one of the things that I like. What I don't like is his go-to situational thing seems to be, let's get the American public as angry as we can make them, because then I've got them. That's my problem, is everybody, that seems to be, both sides are doing nothing but tapping into anger now. Everything that goes on with Black Lives Matter, everything that goes on with the you deserve $15 an hour minimum wage. Now we have the right doing the same thing, and it's evident from the crap that you've been going through when you post an article and don't even say, hey, I think he's right, hey, I think he's wrong. You just post the article and everybody's like, hey, man, just screw you, buddy. You don't know what you're talking about. I mean, since when can we not have a civil disagreement? That's one of the things that even Sean Hannity said in his reply to Glenn Beck is, for all of you that are waiting for this to blow up and you're expecting to be able to pop popcorn, it's not going to happen. Beck and I have known each other for a long time. I consider him a friend and a colleague, and we're just going to continue to have a rational discussion. Why can nobody else in America do that anymore? I don't understand how we always have to have the default setting of, oh, you've said something that offends me, so now I must kill you.
It wasn't always like that on the right. Maybe between liberal or progressive Republicans, with rhinos and between rhinos and conservatives. But now the conservatives are split within conservatives. And I've never seen this before. Never.
No, I haven't either. That's one of the things that has me concerned. That's like I keep getting into a discussion with a coworker through Facebook because, they're posting all this pro-Bush media stuff and all of this this stuff that says, Bush is the guy, and then there's some big deal about Bush using a secondary email service when he was governor and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, look, I don't know who told you that Bush was the default guy unless you're listening to the media, because I can't find a single conservative that says, yeah, Bush is the guy I'm voting for. And then she comes back and says, well, you must be pretty out of touch at this point with your media coverage because all I keep hearing about is Donald Trump. I said, yeah, of course that's what you're hearing about. I said, just because the media is talking about Trump does not mean the people behind the media still don't want Bush. They're talking about Trump because he's what's selling right now. He's what's selling copy. He's what's boosting ad revenue because he is everywhere right now because he's running around like a bull in a china shop. But the simple fact of the matter is the powers that be behind all of the media, they want Bush Clinton. That's what they want. That's why Hillary is still in the race, even with everything that you see coming out right now. They are just now starting to make noise about her being done. And it's because there are so many people behind the scenes that want Hillary to be the Democratic nominee because they want a repeat of the Bush-Clinton thing so that they can have another Clinton victory over a Bush. And I don't know why it is they have their heart set on this unless it's just to make themselves feel better. But I just don't see a way to make it happen at this point.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go down like that. I don't think it's going to be Clinton Bush, but we can all bet on a horse race, right?
The problem is we have so many people that are getting worked up about this so many months before any of it matters. The first major votes aren't even until February, for God's sake.
That's Iowa? February?
I believe the first one, and it's February. I mean, come on, This is August. That's September, October, November, December, January, and then beginning of February. We've got 5, almost 6 months. That's like, in political years, that's like a million.
Yeah, if I was one of those candidates, I would get some plane tickets and go to a few foreign countries and develop some relationships with go to Israel, Netanyahu, maybe go to a European nation, and foreign policy. That's underrated right now. We're just talking about immigration, which it is really important, but there's a power vacuum that's been created in the last 7 years, and it's downright scary what's going on. We don't even think. I don't think a lot of the country thinks about all the Christians being slaughtered every day. I mean, I know a lot of us do, but in general, the ones that don't even vote. And Russia is filling a void. They're flying their jets in our airspace. They took the Crimean Peninsula. They're maybe moving further. There's just ISIS has got so much land, and I really don't like politics. Like I'm here talking to you, and that's what we talk about a lot of the time. But I think there's so much more important stuff that I wish we could talk about. But we always get hung up on politics because it's really just a big game for adults. It's ridiculous. I guess this is a bad week, Rick.
Well, no, I mean, it is a bad week, but that's okay. Everybody's entitled to those, but that's my whole point, is, we may be having a bad week, but we're still out here swinging. We've got people that are basically just saying, you know what, I'm done, I'm giving up, I'm hanging it up, I can't deal with it anymore. And that's my message to everybody right now. It's way too early in this race to let one group of people get you so beat down that all you want to do is basically turn off, especially if you are in the same business that we're in, because you don't know the number of people that are listening to you, that are reading your articles, that need those things from you. All you see is the negative stuff. And I hate to tell you this, and this is even for you, Jared. The fact that you're getting that negative press, you got to realize that is a good thing. I know it doesn't seem like it to you, but the fact that you're getting that much negative attention, you have to remember how the human brain is wired. We remember things that make us angry a lot more than we remember things that make us happy. That also means that for every one person that you irritate, or every 5 people you irritate, you're going to hear from at least 3 of them. But there's also probably going to be 10 people that responded positively to what you said, and you may only hear from 1 or 2 of those, because we are more inclined to react to the things that we perceive as negativity than the stuff that is actually positive. So the fact that you're getting hit with that much negativity, that means you're honestly making a difference. Otherwise, why would they be coming after you? I mean, because let's face it, I can post stuff like that all day long. Nobody notices.
Well, I got to tell you, that's a great point about the negativity. I don't purposely try to to piss people off unless they've if they respond negatively to something that was that wasn't malicious. If it's just a post, that I will get angry and I will do things to piss people off back. Only I don't know if it's human nature or it's just. But I always would like to have a normal, logical debate with a person if they think they don't like something that I said or something I wrote or something I posted. I would rather them tell me what they didn't like about it than just right out of the gate, you're a fucking idiot or something. I mean, how does that help? How does that? It really shows a lack of intelligence and a lack of, I don't know. If you're going to respond to something, it just doesn't make any sense. I do hope that right up until this primary, Iowa, it's going to be a long 6-7 months if this is the way it's going to be the whole time, And
sadly, it probably will be that way for almost the entire time. But, there's something else. You mentioned the negativity again. You got to realize that is a really easy emotion to feed into. That's why it works so well with the left, and that's why they've been doing it for so long. The problem is, it seems like the right is starting to try to follow that same, for lack of a better term, business model, where it's, get enough people angry and you'll get them worked up enough where they're going to do what you want them to do before they realize that they've even done it.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I know I've said it about 1 billion times on this episode, but it's like the entire American public has one default setting anymore. It's like, and it reminds me of a meme that I keep seeing popping up all over Twitter and Facebook, and there's two of them actually, and it's 2015, the year every American was offended by something. And then there's another one that says, "Good morning, American public. What are we going to be pissed off about today?"
Yeah, that about sums it up, huh?
Because that's basically all we got anymore. We're all mad about something, and I understand that. Part of the reason why I started doing what I'm doing now was because I got angry. But the thing about it is, and I know you get angry too, and so do a lot of the other people that do the things that we do on a daily basis, but we take that anger and we try to turn it into something positive. And we're like, look, yes, we're all mad right now, and I understand why we're all mad, but this is still the best damn country in the world. At least for now. We still have a chance to bring it back to what it was before. But if all we do is stand around pointing fingers and calling names, then it doesn't matter who wins, because whoever wins is going to be a douche nozzle that's going to do the same thing that everybody else has been doing. That's the same problem that we've got going on right now in Congress. That's another reason why so many people are mad. It's one of the things that Hannity said over and over and over again in his response to Beck. Is, we voted for all of these people that said they were conservative, and they refused to do anything to fix any of the problems that they said they were going to do the second they got into office. And that's why he said, I have not made up my mind. He said, I will tell you the same thing that I always tell you, which is pretty much the same thing that I say. I want the most conservative person possible to win this election, because conservatism works every time it's tried. People can say it doesn't. People can say it's outdated. I hear that from Bryce every damn Saturday, that this country is progressively moving more to the left and the conservatism is outdated. I tell you from the people that I speak to every day, it is the exact opposite. We have so many people that voted for Obama these first 2 times, and now they've grown up enough because they were just able to start voting. They've grown up enough, and there was one of them that I heard on the drive home today that said, I voted for Obama both times because I bought the change, and now change is all I've got in my bank account.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
And it's the truth. And that's the problem. We have the truth on our side, and all we're doing is fighting with each other, and I don't understand it. We have the strongest platform possible. We have 50 million people on food stamps right now. 40 to 45% of the labor force is unaccounted for because they've dropped out.
Right.
We have the truth on our side. and we're not using it. All we're doing is arguing and fussing and fighting with each other. Look, I don't care. Liberal, Democrat, conservative, Republican, Tea Party, independent, libertarian. If you can't look at this and realize just how messed up everything is, and you still want to be some Obama touting Kool-Aid drinker, then I'm sorry, you probably don't need to vote. Because if you can't see how screwed up everything has gotten in the last 7 years, then you're just not paying attention because you've got your head so far up somebody else's butt because you're all like, oh, look, gay people can get married now. Okay, that's great.
Hey, look, they took down the Confederate flag. Let's party.
I mean, yeah, these are the things that they have to look forward to. Gay people can get married now. Okay, great. So now we're going to have a program called Gay Divorce Court. You know that's coming.
Oh, we're going to start marrying animals and then fighting about that. That's already happening in my state. Horses.
Seriously?
Yeah, a guy came all to Arizona because the law allows he could marry a horse, and he came to marry the horse, and the sheriff intercepted him and was able to stop him. I'm telling you right now, because of what the Supreme Court did, they didn't just legalize gay marriage; they opened a Pandora's box.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've been saying that for years. That's why I said at some point you have to draw a line in the sand, and to paraphrase Gandalf, this far, no further. I mean, you have to be able to draw a line somewhere and say, look, this is as far as we're going to go. I think that line should have stopped before we got to where we are. Because this is one of the things nobody wants to take into account, and then we really do have to take a break. I've already started to see, bestiality, that's one thing. I don't know if that's ever going to get anywhere. I know they're going to keep trying it. But, somewhere 50, 60 years down the road, we may have folks marrying cats. By then, hopefully, I'll be dead and it won't matter. But what concerns me is we have, like, the day after the Supreme Court's decision, we had all of these articles popping up about 16, 17-year-old kids that were going to start petitioning to be recognized as adults. And they wanted children to have equal rights to adults. And you know what that's going to lead to, because at some point that will happen. And when that happens, we're going to have people marrying kids because they'll be legally allowed to do so.
Absolutely. And what about polygamy? That's under that umbrella too.
I mean, I have to admit I'm not nearly as concerned about that as some of the other stuff. I mean, if you're dumb enough to think you need more than one wife or more than one husband, power to you, because I can't even keep one happy.
But you made a point. You made a point that we're worrying about all this stuff when we should be worrying about keeping our eye on what's important, and we get sidetracked with these issues that flags and gay marriage, and it consumes us when we should be focused on what's most important. Right? That was your point.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, but at this point, it is about time for us to go ahead and take a break. We've actually ran a little bit long. We'll be back here in a couple minutes, folks, right here on America Off the Rails for the last half of the show. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
The wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome to
a show that will change internet radio as you know it.
Okay, so let's talk about the story, which I think is hilarious. I'm just going to refer to it as the poop plane, because, what else are you going to call it? But there was this plane, okay? It took off. It's the British Airways. They were going to Dubai. I have a hard time pronouncing that one.
It was British Airways? It wasn't Jet. It wasn't Jet Poo?
It wasn't.
Couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
I like it. This story, if we've ever had a story that is up our alley, it's this one. It's bathroom humor up from front to back of the airplane, apparently. They had to turn around to go back to Heathrow because they said the smelly poo in the toilet became unbearable for passengers, and it was so bad. They decided it's so bad that they had to turn around and go back rather than continue their flight. They decided that there wasn't enough Febreze, there wasn't enough anything to handle this.
Maybe they should see a doctor. Is there a GoFundMe for this guy?
It must be a woman, because a woman's going to be mortified and embarrassed. If this is a guy, you know that he's like out there on Twitter and everything else saying, dude, I took down an airplane with how bad that I laid it down.
There was an old woman who flew on jet poo. She ate so many burritos she didn't know what to do.
So we turned the plane around because they made a big stink. We've just made it into a haiku at the end, but there had to be something.
Real Serious Nonsense, Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, now on K98 Talk.
Are you conservative in a world of liberal?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're not alone. Hey, I'm Daniel Stafford, host of the Stafford Voice, and I'd like to invite you to tune in each Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern, where I'll break down the events of the week, and together we'll learn about how they affect you. So, sit back and get ready for the good, the bad, and the ugly of talk radio right here on K98 Talk.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Now get started again.
Folks, we are back. We are live. Pardon me if I sound like Froggy from the Little Rascals for a second, but my allergies have been killing me ever since this afternoon. I think it's that El Nino crap moving in. Alright, anyway, we are into the last half of the show, and we've been spending most of the day talking about the anger that seems to be bubbling up everywhere in America at this point. And it's not even really just the anger, it's the all-around craziness. I mean, I have to admit, I'm basically just shooting from the hip with the headline. While I was getting everything prepped for the show today, I saw an article where somebody from Ohio had actually set themselves on fire near to or in front of a county courthouse.
Wow.
I'm just saying, I don't know what type of message you were trying to get across or what kind of point you were trying to make, but obviously that person was committed to making their point. Because anybody who is crazy enough to set themselves on fire, no thank you. I mean, that's all I can say about that. I mean, come on. To me, that's no different than a suicide bomber. If you are so committed to your cause that you're going to walk into a room, yell Allahu Akbar, and push a button and blow yourself and everybody else in the room up, we don't have any way to combat that. I mean, we really don't. I mean, and that's why there are so many people in America that are afraid. And I understand part of the reasons why they're angry. Because they see all of this stuff that's going on everywhere that nobody's talking about in the news. And I think that because there are so many people that are focusing on some of the things that you and I kind of touched on at the beginning of the show, with the Christians that are being attacked worldwide, that scares, I mean, there's no nice way to put this, that scares the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but I've read the last book. And I'm telling you, a lot of the stuff that's not really being talked about in the news, but it's just kind of being broached about in the news, is the stuff that's going on in that last book.
There's parallels there. And when they're going around marking Christians, and they're marking with the Nazarene symbol on their houses, entire neighborhoods for ISIS to roll in and slaughter them all. And they don't just shoot them. I mean, they rip them apart. They burn them. They rape them repeatedly. It's disgusting. It's sick. And it's the beginning of a Holocaust. And look at me and call me crazy for that. I don't care. It's a Holocaust. It's the beginning of a Holocaust.
And, I mean, it's going to be. And I think that's honestly one of the reasons why Trump is resonating as much as he is. Because he's the first one that says, no, we need to go in. We need to take control of these oil fields. We need to put people all the way around them and kill them when they try to come in here to get them. Because if we take control of the oil, we cut off their money. And then we have this president who basically, I mean, I even read an article once where at some point he admitted that he was probably going to wind up giving money to terrorism if he made this Iran deal, but he still felt it was the right thing to do. How can we possibly have lost touch with reality so badly?
And we have McCain going over there and playing both sides of it. We arm one group, and then they turn around, and they've got billions of dollars of our equipment, and they're killing us, and they're killing Yazidis, they're killing Kurds, and McCain's over there hugging them, high-fiving them 2 years before that, making deals. And that's when Trump makes sense. Yeah, I'm the big Trump hater, so you can attack me, but Trump makes sense there. I mean, that's what we want to hear. We should have. It's insanity. It's just complete insanity.
I mean, let's be real honest for a second. If we had known now, or if we had known then what we know now, I would have preferred we stayed out of Iraq altogether. The problem is that can't happen now. So once we made that decision and once we committed people, we should have stayed until it was done.
He wouldn't just leave. He wouldn't leave 1,000 guys on a couple different bases in Iraq just to keep training, keep watch for intel, maybe mark some airstrikes. He had to take every last guy out of there, every last soldier. He was that goddamn stubborn. He two people there when every general said, Mr. President, you're making the wrong decision here. We need to leave some forces there. We spent how much money, how many lives lost, how many innocent people died all those years, and then you just bail for political reasons? What a fucking asshole he is. Seriously.
Oh, Jared, tell us how you really feel, brother. Don't hold back. But, no, I agree with everything that you just said. I just enjoy it when you actually get worked up because you're usually so just mellow.
I'm sorry.
No reason to apologize at all. But yeah, I agree completely. And this is one of the things that nobody's talking about. What about all of these people that have bled and died to do what they were ordered to do? And then basically, because we had a change in administration, all of a sudden we had somebody going around taking a victory lap and saying, I'm the one that ended the Iraq war. Mr. President, you didn't I'm sorry. I'm glad this one isn't going to WNJC because, Mr. President, you didn't end shit.
Meanwhile, these veterans are in the streets starving with no homes while the fucking illegals are taking money. They're getting housing. They're getting health care. Our veterans are going to the VA hospitals and they're dying while they're waiting for care. It's atrocious. It's backwards. This country is backwards. And yet it's still the best place to be on earth. We have to fix it. We have to get people to wake up, get pissed off, and fix it. If everybody was pissed off enough, we could fix this. No matter who. If it was Trump that was in the executive branch, no matter what.
But yeah, I mean, no, and I completely agree. And honestly, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it comes down to Trump, I will probably pull the lever for Trump. And if it comes down to either Bush or Christie, I will hand whoever's running the voting booth some cleaner and a squeegee because I'm either going to throw up when I pull the lever or my head's going to explode. Either way, it's not going to be pretty. But I'll still pull the lever.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I have to. Because whoever winds up winning the nomination is still going to be better than whoever the hell they've got on the Democratic side. And that's the God's honest truth. I don't care if you agree with everything that whichever one you hate right now says. If that's the one that gets the nomination, you damn well better pull the lever. Because if you don't, this country is done.
Yep.
And it's that simple.
Any one of those guys up on that debate, first debate, second debate, Carly Fiorina women, any of them, they would not do what Obama's done with our relations with other countries. They would not one of those people on those stages would have done and went across the Middle East, changing regimes that didn't need to be changed, that had been stabilizing the region for decades, backing the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, just destroying us, making us a laughingstock, saying Yemen is the biggest success, and then a week later, the whole government and the embassy gets overrun. None of those Republicans would have done that. They wouldn't have they may have put in a health plan that was maybe not great, but it would not be like Obamacare. It wouldn't be a tax. It wouldn't be. No matter who it is, it's going to be better than what we've had for 7 years. It's going to give us a fighting chance if we can get a Congress that has some balls and a leadership, GOP leadership that has some balls.
Before we can get a Congress that has some testicles, we have to remove the guys that have currently handed theirs off into Valerie Jarrett's purse, otherwise known as Boner and McConnell.
So what do we do? Are we going to sit here from now until Ohio's primary in March, I believe it's March, and just wait and hope that J.D. Winterregg gets enough money and he gets enough support so that the 8th District in Ohio will have a change of heart about the bartender they love so much and pull the lever for a young conservative who wants to go into Congress and fix it and get rid of this orange drunk that has palled around with Obama. And, if we want to do that, right now is the time where we need, if what we do is we go online and we get support for him, we all need to go online. All of us that are listening that feel that the way that maybe we do or I do, go on there, go on his Facebook page and tell him you support him. Go to his website and simply put in your name and your email address and click endorse. Then click tweet. How hard is that? If you don't have $5, don't donate it. Support him. Numbers matter. Support matters. It doesn't matter. Someone's going to give money. I mean, if you're middle class, working class, can't give money, at least support him. Go to the website. Go to Kelly Ward's website, kellyward.com. Support her. She has a chance to get rid of John McCain. If we just talk about how great it would be, it's never. We all need to try and get as many people as we can. We're not in those states, but we have the internet and we have social media, and we can make a difference by taking the time to go to their websites and their pages and support them. I'm telling you, it makes a difference. Look at Dave Bratt.
No, I completely agree, and that's one of the reasons why I brought up that, we're not going to be able to fix this mess unless we change something, because that's part of the problem. We keep voting for the same people over and over again. That's one of the things that drives me crazy, is you look at Congress's approval rating as a whole, and it's almost single digits at this point, but you ask anybody from a particular state, for the most part, other than maybe McCain's state, how their particular congressman or senator is doing, and they're like, oh yeah, he's great, but the whole group sucks. I'm like, how can your guy be great and the whole group sucks? That's one of the things that I think nobody's really even focusing on, is the simple fact of the matter is we need to remove these dynasties, and by dynasties I mean the lifetime runners for Congress. We need to make the Supreme Court a votable position. We need to put term limits in place for pretty much every position. I think there should be a maximum of 8 years for Congress. You can do one term as a senator, one term as a House of Representatives, or you can do 4 terms as a House of Representatives. Whatever it is you want to do to take up that 8-year span, that's all you get. I think the president, instead of having 2 terms for 8 years, I think should only be 1 term for 6. Because it's
like a senator.
The simple fact of the matter is, and there should be no re-election after that. That's it. You get 1 6-year term. Because what's annoying the crap out of me, and it happens every single time anymore, is as soon as our president gets elected, the first thing they start worrying about is who am I going to get to vote for me in 4 more years? I mean,
yes.
it's even apparent.
Instead of govern, they campaign their whole first term instead of govern.
I mean, and it's especially with Obama, because he's never stopped campaigning. Even now. I mean, he can't even be elected anymore, and he's still going around saying, I wish I could run for a 3rd term because I've done such a great job. First of all, somebody...
When General Assembly, he's going to want some globalist position. Rick, you should run for Oklahoma office, legislature, or position. Your plan sounded perfect to me.
Yeah, that's the problem. The issue is I actually would have solutions, and nobody actually wants those. At least nobody that's in power currently. Because that's the other problem. And this is the thing. This takes me back to the whole problem of, I understand why people are angry, and I may even understand it more than most, because the issue is, if you really stop and think about it, all the things that you and I have talked about today, all the simple fixes to make things better. 1 6-year term for a president. 8 years total for Congress. After that, they're done. Somebody gets elected and goes through the budget with a fine-tooth comb. We figure out why we're spending $50,000 for toilet seats and hammers. Then we send some guy with dark glasses and a suit to Walmart to go buy them and say, okay, put this money back in the budget. The problem with that, though, is it all makes sense and it would all work. But the simple fact of the matter is, if we honestly were allowed to fix what was broken, if we were honestly allowed to fix what was broken, we wouldn't need the government anymore, and they wouldn't have their positions of power anymore. So they're not going to allow those things to happen because they want control. That's the thing nobody wants to talk about. When you really stop and think about it, it reminds me of a game that I used to play back in the day when I got my, I think it was my first Xbox. There was a game called Deus Ex, and it was awesome because it was a sci-fi game. I love those. But there's basically, it's kind of like the first video game version of a choose your own adventure book. You could basically go through and you could do missions for either one faction or the other. But the thing is, and you didn't know this unless you played it all the way through for both sides, eventually what you find out is each faction is actually working for the same people behind the scenes. You get to the point at the end of the game where it really didn't matter which side you picked because there was one group of people pulling the button or pulling the levers behind the scenes. And
Sounds real familiar.
I think that's the problem. I think we have that going on here today, and I don't think anybody wants to talk about it. I mean, think about it for a second.
I think it's going on a global scale, actually, what you just described. And they're not going to legislate power away from themselves, like you said.
I mean, that's the biggest problem that we have. At some point, somebody forgot about the axiom absolute power corrupts absolutely. So now we have these group of people that are primarily, for 250 some odd days a year, ensconced away in D.C. when the Constitution doesn't even say they have to be there for that long. And honestly, with today's technology, I would say, why are we paying for a White House and a Capitol building? We don't need it anymore. With today's technology, they could have votes through Skype.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be able to count them just like they do now. The president could do his job from an apartment building somewhere that nobody knew about, and we could save how much money?
Yeah, and they could spend time in their own districts and their own states, listening to the constituents, and that's what their job is. Anyway, we could put Obama in Walmart. He could legislate. He could govern from Walmart. Actually, could he golf in there? Is it big enough?
I don't know, you might be able to pull it off, but you just reminded me of something. We have a sister station, K98 FM, where we used to have the owner over there and my partner over here actually used to DJ on there a lot. And every once in a while, he would run a bumper that just made me laugh every time I heard it, because it would be coming to you live from a Walmart bathroom near you.
Oh, that's a scary place.
All right, but yeah, so... Well, yeah, he probably could put I don't know. Does Obama play putt-putt? I mean, he might think that was racist.
Yeah, you better not.
Saving Liberty just said that he could put a putt-putt in Walmart. I'm like, I think he might think that was racist. All right, well, at this point, we have gotten to just about the end of the show. Jared, why don't you go ahead and tell folks where they can find you should they choose to interact with you, unless, of course, they're going to be nozzles, and then you can just give them a wrong address.
No, bring it. I'm at rebootingliberty.com. All my stuff is there. You can find me there. And Thursday night, Red Nation Rising Radio, we have the return of Politibunny. She's going to be on as a guest. Her show begins the According to Me show with Jason DeWilkins. She's the following week. She begins her show. So tune in Thursday night after this show. And then after Red Nation Rising Radio, tune in to Game On with JD and Stacy.
All right, so for tonight, as soon as I'm done, you'll hear a replay of the Liz Harrison radio show, which typically airs here every Monday through Friday at 6 Eastern. And then, of course, after that, when that finishes, you'll hear the Real Serious Nonsense crew. And then, of course, we'll have Daniel Stafford with the Stafford Voice. And then at some point tonight, if they send me a file, we will have Open Eyes Radio from the L&M folks. And then the L&M radio folks will close out the night with their coast-to-coast style antics. Then, of course, we'll be right back here bright and early with you tomorrow, starting at 9 with the Conservative Commando radio show, and then our usual daily lineup, and I will be back with you here tomorrow night at 6 Central, 7 Eastern, and I will be flying solo for tomorrow, so it'll just be me ranting and raving, but feel free to tune back in should you choose. At this point, I think it is about time that we go ahead and get out of here. Any last words, Mr. Jared?
I do not. I thank you again for having me on. I really enjoy joining you on Mondays. I appreciate it. And I look forward to next week.
Hey, not a problem. You've actually come a long way since we've started doing this, because when we first started doing this, you barely had anything to say at all. Now you're like really getting into it, so I'm glad it's working out. Because that was what I wanted to see, was to see if you were going to start being able to find a voice. Because I know you've always been kind of second fiddle on the Red Nation Rising stuff, because you're too busy pushing buttons. And I know how stressful that is. Because trust me, the first night I was with you, it was awesome, because I was just like reading off the questions, having fun talking. And then the night I had to produce with Lou, at the end she was like, "I was really hoping you were going to talk more." I was like, "I couldn't keep up. Leave me alone."
Yeah, it's double duty.
In more ways than one. All right. That's going to do it for this particular episode of America Off the Rails, folks. I will be back with you live tomorrow night. Don't forget, hang around later tonight for the Politainment crew, and I'll be back with you tomorrow.
Everything you earn by breaking your backs, we're gonna redistribute when we pay tax. Hey, sit back down.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Wow. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.